In your last video lesson, you learned how to make a 3D part using solid modeling in subtractive solid modeling method. Solid modeling is a type of 3D CAD process that represents the volume of an object, not just its lines and surfaces. There's two types of models that we're looking at right here, wireframe and solid. A wireframe does not give the viewer an idea of the surface appearance, nor does it provide information regarding properties. Wireframes are not solid models. A solid model will show how an object's surface will appear and gives information like surface area, volume, and weight. Solid CAD models are the result of additive and or subtractive processes. All CAD solid modeling programs utilize additive and subtractive modeling methods to create virtual 3D objects. They are also referred to as Boolean operations, named after the 18th century English mathematician Charles Boole. For the additive method, a three-dimensional object can be viewed as a combination of two or more simple forms. In the creation of real-world objects, this method is represented by construction processes such as welding, gluing, mechanical fastening, and joinery. So I'm going to explain additive method using this solid model right here. So method 1, we would build part of the model and then add the next part. So we would extrude to 0.75, draw on this surface, extrude to 0.75. Method 2, we could just draw the bottom section of that part and extrude that up 0.75, draw the next part and extrude up. Method 3 is a little more complex. We can break the part into equal parts and add that all together. Okay, we're not going to make this part. We're actually going to go straight into our work. So we've already done part 1 of activity 4.1e model creation, which is this part. That was your first video lesson. Okay. The question we want to think about is which method, additive, subtractive, or a combination of both, are you going to be using and which do you feel is most efficient? In part 2, this model right here, all the dimensions are in millimeters, and I'm going to be using whatever method I feel is best, and you're going to then answer that question on your own. But follow along as I create this part. I'm firing up Autodesk Inventor. I'm clicking on the new menu and I'm clicking on part. Let me zoom in on this part so I get to see the dimensions better. So our first thing that we notice is all dimensions are in millimeters. In Autodesk Inventor, we need to go to the Tools menu, Document Settings, and make sure our units are in millimeters. Click Apply, close that window. Go back to the 3D Model tab and click on Start a New Sketch button. Our sketch planes pop up. And let's see. So this is 40. I think I'm going to use the subtractive method for this one. Yeah. So I'm going to draw the block 60 by 40. Clicking on rectangle, 60, tab 40. Clicking on front. And I notice that it's 30 wide in the extrusion. Click on Finish Sketch. Click on Home. Click Extrude. Type 30. Press Enter. So now I have that block. And I'm going to subtract this area out. So I need to think about a couple things. This edge is 10 millimeters away from this edge is 25, and it's going down 15. So I need to draw a rectangle on the top that is 10 away from here, 25 away from here. So I'm right clicking on the top, clicking on New Sketch, clicking on the rectangle tool, and making sure that my little button here, the yellow icon, snaps to the edges. Some of you last time were not snapping and doing things like what I just did right here. Control Z undo. So make sure your lines and your those little nodes are snapping to where you want it. My next thing is I'm going to click on dimension and then click on the edges I need to dimension. That was 10 from that edge, and this dimension was 25 from that edge. Clicking on Finish Sketch, and I see that it's going 15 down. So I'm going to cut extrude that 15 and click OK. And I have this hole that's going, I'm assuming it's going all the way through because there's no other notes here that say anything else. It doesn't tell me how much it's going in, so we can safely assume that it's going the whole way through. So this object is 15 by 10. It's 3 away from here, 5 away from the bottom. But this rectangle is 15 by 10. So on the right side, right click, new sketch, make a rectangle, and let me just remember it's 15 wide by 10 tall, press enter, double tap escape. So make sure your dimensions are correct. Dimension, click on that edge and click on that edge, and that was 3. Is that correct? Yep, 3. And 5 from the bottom. 5. Okay, and then finish sketch. I'm going to click on extrude, click on cut. This time I'm going to use the all extents. Click on that surface and click OK. So for this model, using subtractive method was the best. And what we're going to do next is click on Save, 4.1e, Part 2, and your name. Click that Save button and submit your work for credit.